Have you ever lost sleep over an opportunity that slipped away, a relationship that ended, or a dream that never became reality? Have you ever wondered if you made the wrong decision, arrived too late, or somehow missed the blessing that was supposed to be yours? The truth is that countless people spend years trapped in regret, replaying old moments and asking themselves what could have been different. But what if the thing you're grieving was never meant for you in the first place? And what if the blessing you're waiting for is already making its way toward you by the decree of Allah? Think about it. If risk could be stolen, promotions could be hijacked, and destinies could be snatched away, we'd all need security guards for our dreams. Yet Allah's plan doesn't work that way. What He has written for you cannot be taken by another person, delayed beyond His wisdom, or lost through someone else's success. Today, we're going to uncover a powerful truth that can free your heart from anxiety, jealousy, and constant worry. You'll discover why some closed doors are actually acts of mercy, why certain losses are hidden protection, and why what appears to be a setback may be preparing you for something far greater. And before we finish, you'll understand one life-changing reality about Allah's decree that has the power to transform the way you view every opportunity, every disappointment, and every unanswered question in your life. One of the most comforting truths a believer can carry in their heart is the certainty that whatever Allah has written for them can never miss them. In a world filled with competition, uncertainty, and constant comparison, people often live with the fear of losing opportunities, missing blessings, or falling behind others. They worry that someone else will take what they wanted, that a delayed opportunity means it has been lost forever, or that a mistake from the past has permanently ruined their future. These fears can consume the mind and rob a person of peace. Yet faith teaches a powerful reality. What Allah has decreed for you will reach you no matter how many obstacles stand in the way. And what was never written for you could never have become yours regardless of how hard you pursued it. Human beings naturally focus on what they can see. When an opportunity disappears, they see only the loss. When someone else succeeds, they may feel as though something has been taken from them. When plans fail, they often assume they have missed their chance. However, Allah sees what human beings cannot see. He knows every event before it happens, every path before it unfolds, and every outcome before it becomes visible. His knowledge is complete, while ours is limited. Because of this, believers are encouraged to trust Allah's decree even when they do not fully understand it. Many people spend years dwelling on missed opportunities. They replay old conversations, revisit past decisions, and imagine how different life might have been if certain events had unfolded another way. While reflection can be beneficial, constantly living in the past often creates unnecessary suffering. The believer who understands Allah's decree recognizes that what has passed was never meant to be theirs. If a particular opportunity truly belonged to them, Allah would have made a way for it to reach them. This understanding frees the heart from endless regret and allows a person to focus on the present with greater confidence. The concept of divine decree does not mean that effort is unnecessary. Islam teaches believers to work hard, seek opportunities, and strive for excellence. A person should pursue their goals with dedication and determination. However, they must also understand that results are ultimately in Allah's hands. The believer takes action because effort is their responsibility, but they trust Allah with the outcome because control belongs to Him alone. This balance creates both motivation and peace. It encourages hard work without creating unhealthy attachment to specific results. One reason people struggle with this concept is because they often assume they know what is best for them. They become convinced that a certain job, relationship, business opportunity, or life path is essential for their happiness. When it does not work out, disappointment can feel overwhelming. Yet countless people later discover that what they once viewed as a loss was actually a blessing in disguise. The job they did not get led them to a better opportunity. The relationship that ended protected them from future pain. The plan that failed redirected them toward a more meaningful purpose. Allah's wisdom extends far beyond what we can perceive in a single moment. Comparison is another obstacle that prevents people from finding peace. Social media and modern life constantly expose individuals to the achievements of others. It becomes easy to look at someone else's success and wonder why certain blessings have not arrived in your own life. This comparison can create jealousy, frustration, and self-doubt. However, the believer remembers that Allah distributes blessings according to His wisdom. What is meant for another person cannot become yours, and what is meant for you cannot become theirs. Each individual has a unique journey designed by Allah, complete with its own timing, lessons, and opportunities. Trusting that Allah's decree will reach you also reduces anxiety about the future. Many people constantly worry about what might happen tomorrow. They fear making mistakes, missing opportunities, or falling behind. While planning is important, excessive worry often stems from a desire to control things that are beyond human control. The believer understands that Allah is already managing the future. Nothing can prevent His decree from unfolding. This realization allows the heart to rest. It does not eliminate responsibility, but it removes the burden of trying to control every outcome. Another beautiful aspect of this belief is the confidence it creates during times of uncertainty. When opportunities seem scarce or progress feels slow, the believer remains hopeful. They know that delays do not mean denial and that setbacks do not mean abandonment. Allah may be preparing circumstances, teaching lessons, or protecting them from something harmful. The fact that a blessing has not yet arrived does not mean it never will. If it has been written for them, it will come at the exact time Allah has chosen. This certainty transforms the way a person experiences life. They become less attached to what they cannot control and more focused on fulfilling their responsibilities. They stop chasing every opportunity out of fear and begin trusting Allah's wisdom more deeply. They learn to celebrate the success of others without feeling threatened because they know their own provision remains secure in Allah's decree. They become more patient during delays and more grateful when blessings arrive. When a believer truly understands that what Allah has written for them can never miss them, a remarkable sense of peace enters the heart. Regret loses its power, comparison loses its attraction, and anxiety begins to fade. The heart learns to trust that Allah's plan is unfolding exactly as it should, that every opportunity will arrive at its appointed time, and that no blessing meant for them can ever be taken away by circumstances, competition, mistakes, or the actions of other people. Few experiences in life feel as disappointing as watching a door close that you desperately wanted to walk through. It may be a job you worked hard to obtain, a relationship you hoped would last, a business opportunity that seemed perfect, or a personal goal that appeared within reach. When these doors close, the immediate reaction is often confusion, sadness, frustration, or even heartbreak. People naturally ask themselves why things did not work out. They wonder what they could have done differently and often assume that something valuable has been taken away from them. Yet, one of the most profound lessons a believer can learn is that not every closed door is a punishment or a loss. Sometimes, a closed door is one of Allah's greatest forms of protection. Human beings see only a small portion of reality. We evaluate situations based on what is visible in front of us. We judge opportunities according to our desires, emotions, and limited understanding. Allah, however, sees everything. He knows what lies behind every path, every choice, and every possibility. He knows the consequences that are hidden from our sight. What appears beneficial today may contain difficulties that would have harmed us tomorrow. What seems like a perfect opportunity may carry risks that only Allah can see. Because His knowledge is complete and ours is limited, there are times when His mercy is expressed not through granting what we want, but through withholding it. One reason closed doors can be difficult to accept is because people often become emotionally attached to specific outcomes. They convince themselves that happiness depends upon obtaining a certain opportunity or achieving a particular goal. They imagine how much better life will become once they get what they desire. When that opportunity disappears, it feels as though their hopes have been shattered. However, believers are reminded that Allah's wisdom is greater than their expectations. Just because something is desired does not mean it is beneficial. A person may passionately pursue something that appears good while being unaware of the hidden harm attached to it. Many people can look back on their lives and identify situations they once desperately wanted, but later realized would have brought them pain or regret. At the time, they felt disappointed when things did not work out. They questioned why Allah had not opened that door. Years later, after gaining more experience and understanding, they recognized that Allah had protected them from circumstances that would have caused greater hardship. The disappointment they felt in the moment was replaced by gratitude. What once appeared to be rejection revealed itself as mercy. Sometimes Allah closes a door because the timing is not right. Human beings often want immediate results. They become impatient when blessings are delayed and assume that delay means denial. Yet Allah knows when a person is truly ready for what they are asking for. A blessing received too early can become a burden rather than a benefit. Certain opportunities require growth, maturity, knowledge, or spiritual development before they can be handled properly. In these cases, a closed door may simply be Allah preparing the believer for something that will arrive at a more suitable time. Closed doors also teach reliance upon Allah. It is easy to place trust in opportunities, plans, and personal abilities when everything seems to be going well. However, when those opportunities disappear, believers are reminded that their future does not depend upon any single door. Their future depends upon Allah. This realization strengthens tawakkul and encourages a deeper relationship with Him. Instead of becoming consumed by what was lost, the believer learns to trust that Allah is guiding them toward what is best. Another reason Allah may close a door is to redirect a person toward a better path. Human beings often become focused on a specific destination and fail to notice other possibilities. They assume they know exactly what they need, yet Allah may have something far greater waiting elsewhere. The closed door forces them to change direction, explore new opportunities, and discover blessings they would never have encountered otherwise. What initially feels like an obstacle becomes the very reason they find a more meaningful and beneficial path. There are also times when closed doors protect a person's faith. Not every opportunity that brings worldly success brings spiritual benefit. Some paths may increase wealth while weakening faith. Others may provide temporary satisfaction while creating long-term spiritual harm. Allah cares not only about a person's worldly condition, but also about their relationship with Him. Out of His mercy, He may remove opportunities that would have distanced the believer from their faith, even if the person does not immediately recognize the danger. The challenge for believers is that protection often does not feel like protection in the moment. It can feel painful, confusing, and unfair. Human beings naturally focus on what they have lost rather than what they have been saved from. They see the closed door, but cannot yet see the unseen wisdom behind it. This is where trust becomes essential. Faith requires believing that Allah's decisions are based upon perfect knowledge, even when His wisdom is not immediately apparent. As time passes, many believers discover that the doors they once cried over were never meant to define their future. New opportunities emerge, different paths open, unexpected blessings appear. The pain of the closed door gradually gives way to understanding. They begin to see how Allah was protecting them, teaching them, preparing them, or guiding them towards something better than what they originally wanted. When a believer truly understands this reality, disappointment no longer turns into despair. They continue making effort, pursuing goals, and seeking opportunities, but they do so with confidence in Allah's wisdom. They know that if a door closes, it is not because Allah has abandoned them. It may be because His mercy is protecting them from something they cannot see, and leading them toward blessings they have not yet imagined. Few things test a person's faith more than waiting for something they desperately want while watching life unfold differently than they expected. Most people create plans for their future. They set goals, establish timelines, and imagine how certain events will happen. They expect opportunities to arrive at specific moments, prayers to be answered in particular ways, and dreams to become reality according to their own schedule. When things do not happen as planned, disappointment often follows. Questions begin to fill the mind. Why is this taking so long? Why are others moving ahead while I remain in the same place? Why has Allah not opened the door yet? These questions are natural, but they also reveal one of the greatest spiritual challenges a believer faces: learning to trust Allah's timing when life does not unfold according to personal expectations. Human beings view time differently from Allah. We live within moments, days, months, and years. We see only what is happening right now. Our understanding is limited to the present and our memories of the past. Allah, however, sees the entire picture. He knows what happened before we were born, what is happening now, and what will happen in the future. He understands every consequence, every hidden detail, every unseen benefit, and every potential harm. Because His knowledge is perfect, His timing is perfect, even when it feels confusing from a human perspective.
One reason people struggle with delays is because they often mistake waiting for rejection. When a prayer is not answered immediately, they begin to wonder whether Allah has forgotten them. When opportunities fail to appear, they assume they are being denied. Yet, delay and denial are not the same thing. A parent may delay giving something to a child because they know the child is not ready for it. The delay is not an act of neglect, but an act of care. In a far greater way, Allah may delay certain blessings because He knows the exact moment they will be most beneficial. Sometimes the thing a person desires requires preparation. The believer may not yet possess the knowledge, patience, maturity, or spiritual strength necessary to handle the blessing they are asking for. Allah sees what the person cannot see. He understands that receiving something too early could create difficulties that outweigh the benefits. Therefore, He uses the waiting period as a time of growth. What feels like inactivity may actually be a season of preparation. The believer is being shaped, strengthened, and developed for what lies ahead. Another reason Allah's timing differs from our expectations is that He often protects us from things we do not understand. A person may pray intensely for a specific opportunity while being completely unaware of the harm associated with it. They see only the potential benefits, while Allah sees every hidden consequence. Out of His mercy, He may delay or redirect that opportunity. At first, the believer feels disappointed. Later, they often discover that what they thought they wanted would not have brought the happiness or success they imagined. Trusting Allah's timing becomes especially difficult when comparing ourselves to others. We see people achieving goals we have not achieved. We watch others receive opportunities we have been waiting for. We observe their progress and begin questioning our own journey. Comparison creates impatience because it shifts attention away from Allah's unique plan and focuses it on someone else's story. Every person has a different path, different lessons, different tests, and different blessings. What arrives early for one individual may arrive later for another. Not because one is more valuable than the other, but because Allah's wisdom governs each life according to its specific needs. The waiting period often teaches lessons that success alone could never teach. Patience develops during delay. Reliance upon Allah deepens during uncertainty. Gratitude grows through struggle. Humility increases when a person realizes they cannot force outcomes into existence. These qualities become part of the believer's character, preparing them for future blessings. Without the waiting period, many of these spiritual strengths would never develop. One of the most beautiful aspects of trusting Allah's timing is that it frees the heart from constant anxiety. Many people exhaust themselves trying to control outcomes that are beyond their control. They become consumed by deadlines they have created for themselves. They feel pressured to achieve everything immediately. When they trust Allah's timing, this pressure begins to fade. They still work hard and pursue their goals, but they no longer believe their peace depends upon immediate results. Their peace comes from knowing that Allah is managing every detail with wisdom and mercy. There are moments when the delay feels so long that hope begins to weaken. The prayer has been repeated countless times. The effort has been made repeatedly. The answer still seems distant. Yet some of the greatest blessings arrive after periods of waiting that initially seemed unbearable. The believer later realizes that if the blessing had arrived earlier, they would not have appreciated it in the same way. They would not have learned the lessons that prepared them for it. They would not have developed the faith that emerged through the waiting. Trusting Allah's timing does not mean ignoring pain or pretending disappointment does not exist. It means continuing to hope while waiting. It means making dua without losing faith. It means taking action without becoming attached to specific deadlines. It means believing that Allah's wisdom is working even when the path ahead is unclear. This trust allows the believer to move forward with confidence rather than fear. When things do not go according to plan, it does not mean the plan has failed. It may simply mean that Allah's plan is unfolding instead. What appears to be a delay may actually be preparation. What feels like a setback may be protection. What seems like an unanswered prayer may be Allah arranging something greater than what was originally requested. The believer who trusts Allah's timing understands that every blessing arrives exactly when it is meant to arrive, neither too early nor too late, and that the one who controls time itself
never makes mistakes in determining when something should enter a person's life.